This is Dale Neff from ChainsawLogCabin.com, and we're standing here, and you're seeing down there where the old schoolhouse, the log cabin schoolhouse, sat back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, in a town called Fairview, Michigan. And if you look up here, this is where we're going to go. And at the museum up there, about a half a mile away, well, a quarter mile away, it's a quarter mile away. It was moved from this point up to the museum, and we'll take a closer look at it up there. Well, we're up here at the Steiners Museum, and as you can see, there's a lot of really interesting things to do and see up here, but this is where the old schoolhouse is located. Now, I am showing you this because of the fact that it is an old log cabin, and we're going to take a closer look here. I have the actual writing about it. And it was built in 1885 and in still beautiful shape. Now let's take a look at the log and chinking. Now this is the original chinking and everything, and as you can see how the logs have been worked to set on top of each other, and a little bit of a notch in between them. If you can see that notch right there. And of course everything is all hand hewed, and they did do a good job. They put it back up on the stone, and you have the thatched roof, of course, the old cedar shake. And some of these logs are just absolutely gorgeous. And the old windows, of course, one-pane windows, but back in 1885 there would have probably been greased paper, so the light could have came in them. And then we're back here at the back peak. Of course, they would have ran board itself and not so much the log. You see, they did all kinds of really neat things on chinking and usage and everything on these log cabins. Anything that what they figured would keep the warmth in and the heat in the winter and the cold out in the winter, they used it. Now we're going to take a little trip inside here in a second. And this is probably 24 by 20, it looks like. You can see here. And we got some visitors in here that want to come in and sit down and study the old school out. And what is your name, young lady?
Sophia.
What?
Sophia.
Sophia? Yeah. That's a pretty name, ain't it? Her and her dad are here. He's learning on the blackboard. So we have teachers and pupils. Oh, Nellie Burnham. I heard that name when I was a little kid. And you can see how the roofs were made on the inside and out. And then Sophia's learning how to be a good student. What was it? They made you put your face down, nose down on the paper?
You stand up against the wall.
Oh, stand up against the wall and hold the paper with your nose. That's right. So that's how this is. And thank you very much for the little tour. Oh, we're going to go outside. I'm going to show you one more thing before we sign out here. And that would be Mr. Burner. And that would be the old, you can see the clear up there. Now I showed you on the other way was where the old school sat. But here, up here, if you look, and on your right, way up there, is a farmhouse. And we're going to swing up there a little closer in a minute. But you see that barn on the right? That's a half a mile up. And that's where the old post office was. And we'll take a quick peek at that in a minute. But the old post office, everywhere that Fairview went, was where there was a post office back in the early days. So we got about 4 or 5 different little old post offices like this. So it moved several times in the first years of Fairview. There's one part of this that we missed, and I wanted to show you real close here. Look how the windows are, you know, made out to match the depth of the window itself. It's quite interesting. And of course, here's your overhang coming down. And very interesting construction back in the day. And it worked. Now we're gonna get this old stump puller here. This is really a small stump puller compared to some of them that we had. This one's only probably maybe 10 foot tall. And what it was is a lot of times they had a pulley at the top that would hook to the team of horses, and the horses would circle this stump puller, and then that drill would go into the stump as that team of horses would go around and then pull that stump out. And it just more or less an auger base that would go in the stump. And like I say, this one's pretty short. It's about 10 foot, 12 foot tall, maybe. But some of them were up there almost 15, 20 foot. Here?
Yes. Those are ones I found.
You found a lot of them in here?
Most of them.
See, we had, I told you, we had blunderbuss in here. We had the original. Now this is a curator. Is that correct? What is your
Yes.
type? Curator. Yeah.
Weekend curator.
Okay. And
And
your name?
Cody Rosen,
There we go.
resident of Fairview,
Yep. And
lifetime resident of Oscoda County.
there we go. And we have above him a nice little rack. But this is down here inside of the museum. And if you make it to Fairview, it's located 2 miles north. And that's a very interesting, and believe me, there's a lot more than what you can see here. We have a 6-headed planer out there that I donated part of that. Well, McGregor, Norm, there was a bunch of us had that in our possession at one time.
Walt.
Walt.
Anger from Walt Lees. He owned
Oh,
that one
yeah,
time.
yeah. And a lot of the vertical log cabins were made with that that says 1900, but it was actually about 1886 to 1890, I think. And like I say, the actual manufacturer of it died young, about 32. Had a fight with his employees at a bar where he took them to have some spirits to calm them down, and one of them hit him over the head with a cue stick, and he died 3 days later of a hemorrhage. Kind of tragic, but made a lot of history on them. I think there was only about 35 made, actually. You can look it up on These Old Machines, I think is .com is the name of the, or Old Machinery maybe.
I wonder how many of them would have been scrapped during World War II.
Oh my God, yes. What is that? I had that. That's almost close to. That's got to be a ton.
Very heavy.
And we'll bring you a little more information on that later. Okay, thank you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. As I said, this was the old post office. It's located about 2.5 miles north of Fairview now. And you can see some of the wonderful old buildings that were old farmhouses, very well kept. But that is the old post office. Not much, is it? This is the brochure that comes with the log cabin or the log schoolhouse at the Steiners Museum. And we'll just use this old bearskin rug for a backdrop. And as you can see, it's just a little. This is the inside of it that tells your different the teachers and the students that were back in the day. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little video about part of our heritage up here in northern Michigan. And leave comments below. Thank you.